Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tier list video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the defunct subway lines of the New York City subway. Now, we're not going to be taking a look at some lines like the QT, QJ, the 8 train, which was the 3rd Avenue elevated. None of those because, well, they don't have row sign bullets, and I am too lazy to put those in here as the little 10 numbers and stuff they used to have on the old Redbirds and stuff. So we're rocking with the Brown M, the 9, the H, the JFK Express, and the K train. So before we get into this video, I'm gonna ask all of you to hit the like button, subscribe, and consider becoming a channel member to just support me a little bit more. And without further ado, let's get started. So first off, we got the M train, the Brown M train. Now, this train ran to Bay Parkway via West End, and I hear that it only ran to Brooklyn during rush hour, so I'm assuming it was just like a Myrtle to Chambers Street kind of shuttle type of thing. And it just seems kind of useless, to be honest. You know, I prefer the current configuration we have now. I feel like that is more. You know what? I just noticed that I forgot to add the V train in here. Let me do that real quick. So now that we're back and we finally have the V train in here, let me continue with what I was saying about the Brown M. So basically, I feel like the current configuration with the M train running to Forest Hills via 6th Avenue, I feel like that is the better configuration of the service from Myrtle. You know, it sees much more ridership than the old one with sending the M to Bay Parkway. People just, they're looking to get into Manhattan. They're looking to go to Midtown. They're not looking to go from one part of Brooklyn to the other part of Brooklyn. Like, some definitely are. The ridership on the old Brown M used to be maybe like 17,000, I believe. And comparing that to some other lines, like you got the G that's running over 100,000 people per day, and that's just running between Manhattan and not Manhattan, Queens and Brooklyn. So obviously there's demand for like intra-borough travel, but there's no demand for really like that part of Queens to that specific part of Brooklyn. People are looking for lines like maybe the Interborough Express or the G that serves maybe a more dense area of both Queens and Brooklyn. But I don't know. I don't like the Brown M. That's like a Foamers type of line. I'm cool with the M running up to Forest Hills. I don't care if it looks like a circle in the subway map. It's still a good line. And to be honest, the current M, I don't really be seeing many issues with it. I don't be seeing too many delays. Now, I'm not a frequent M train rider, but whenever I take it, it's quick, gets me to my destination. And that's all you could really ask for a subway line. So for the Brown M, I guess we could put it in C tier. It wasn't a horrible line, but it caused a little bit of interlining on West End, probably causing some issues around 36th Street, merging with the N and all that. And to be honest, the current configuration is much better. Like I said, it sees much more ridership. Now, around the same time, the train that was running the current configuration was the V train. We don't have the V train no more, but you might as well call it a M train to 2nd Avenue. Now, the V train was just Forest Hills to 2nd Avenue via the F line. And I might just put it in godly tier, to be honest, because it was basically the precursor to the M train, you know? The current M train, as I said, I don't see many issues with it, and that's basically what the V was. And it barely had like any conflicting points, you know. Currently with the M train, the only conflicting point is maybe Queens Plaza when it has to merge with the E. The same thing went down with the V train. That's the only issue that was really present with the V train, you know. Once it gets to 2nd Avenue, it terminates on a totally different track than where the F train runs through. So it was just straight up a godly line, and I believe it used to run 10-car trains. Like I used to see 46s on the V line. So we gonna throw that up into godly tier. It wasn't a horrible line, and it being a precursor to the M, just that gives it its godly spot. Now, I'm not saying the M train is godly in any way. The M train is not godly. If you would watch my subway tier list, you would know that the M train is not godly. But the M train ain't a horrible line. So for the purpose of this list specifically, where we're talking about defunct lines, we're gonna throw the V in S tier, godly. Now, next up, we got the 9. Now, I've ridden the 9 train like once or twice in my lifetime, and just knowing how useless skip stop service is on the Z line, I can say that skip stop service on the 9 and the 1 was horrible. Listen, You should not be having skip stop service in any type of subway system. It does not help. It barely helps in commuter rail systems, especially if you're trying to run some type of like frequent type of service, or like for more of a denser type of population than if you was trying to run commuter rail services out to like what's those parts of Long Island, like Ronkonkoma and stuff like that. You don't really need frequent service in Ronkonkoma, but you need frequent service in Manhattan, of course. So having some type of skip stop service where you have one trains bypassing, let's say 168th Street, while 9 trains stop there, now you're cutting off half of the population that wants to get on that one train. You're cutting off the frequency basically, just to make that up by the train skipping like 3 to 4 stops, and that doesn't really make too much sense to me. You could make up for the loss of skip stop service by adding more trains on the line, number one, and number two, speeding up service on the line. The one doesn't need much else than it already has. The one is godly tier. It is a quick line. It barely has any curves. It runs the 62As, and the 62As on the one, they might be dirty, but they running real good right now. Like, you don't really see too many issues with the 62As on the one. You don't see too many breakdowns like the 46s is having with their traction motors and stuff like that. So I feel like the 9, that's probably gonna go in D tier right now, to be honest. Like, again, we should not be having no skip stop type of service in New York City, especially not on the subway. It makes no sense, and this is the issue we currently kind of face with the Z line. Now, you know, I hate the Z line with a passion. Like, I hate the Z line because it just takes away from the normal J service that you're getting. Now you're waiting twice as long for a train that's going to skip like maybe 10 stops. But those 10 stops, the same amount of time could have been made up if the train was coming at its normal frequency. I never really understood that. And plus, the 9 train, what makes the 9 train even worse than the Z is the 9 train ran local after like 137th or something like that. It was not a good line. You running local on 7th Avenue in addition to just making the headways horrible north of 96th Street. Nah, that ain't it. So we gonna throw the 9 train in D tier for right now. Now the H train, I'm gonna keep it real. It's pretty godly, to be honest, and I feel like it should be the designation of the Rockaway Park shuttle, the shuttle we currently have running between Broad Channel and Beach 116th. Now, this is the internal designation of the current shuttle line, and you may remember me mentioning in like my Rockaway Beach branch video where I'm like, you know what, just call it the H train. That's the original, that's the internal designation for the Rockaway Park shuttle, and I feel like the H would fit the Rockaway Beach branch pretty well. You know, even though it doesn't run via 8th Avenue and is using that type of color scheme, I don't see it as much of an issue, to be honest. And I have no issue with it. You know, it carried during Hurricane Sandy, the aftermath of that. It carried the Rockaways. So yeah, let's throw the H up into, I'm gonna throw it up into A tier right now. Now I'm probably gonna change that up into godly tier later on, but let's just get through the main list first, and then I could like continue talk about my thoughts on all of this. So now the K train. To be honest, I don't really got an issue with this line. It's basically just a C train to World Trade Center, which I've actually seen in real life. If I could find a piece of footage, I'll throw it up in the background, but I'll have a strange feeling I won't have any success with that, because that was like mid last year. It was a GO. They was running C trains via the E to World Trade Center, and then the F train was running up via the C line. It was crazy. But I've seen proposals to reinstate the K line. I never really understood that, but people trying to send the E train to like Rockaway Boulevard, Rockaway Park or whatever, and then send the K train, which would be the C, to World Trade Center. I never understood any of that, but I think the K it wasn't a bad line, to be honest. It's just a Manhattan line, you know. It's like if something happened in Brooklyn, they cut the C train back, you know, and now it's a K train basically. But it's not that significant of a line too. It doesn't serve as many people as the C train currently does. You know, the C train, it carries basically the local stations on A. Even though it does run like 6 trains per hour, it runs 8 car trains. The K train is basically today's version of the C, just sticking in Manhattan. And I feel like terminating at World Trade Center, it's cool, but it's just the E, you know. I don't got much to say about the K. Obviously, it's not all that, but it's not horrible. I think it no, not D tier. I think it deserves a B tier right there. And yeah, the last one, the train to the plane. This line was just useless, and it was incredibly expensive. I think fares was like $6.50 on the line, and that don't make no sense for a subway line. Like, I don't care if it's going to the airport, bro. You got the A train that takes you to Howard Beach. So what if this train stops at 3 stations, bro? Waste the extra 30 minutes and save a couple of dollars. You still gotta take the air. Well, back then you didn't have to take the air train, but you still gotta take the air train from Howard Beach. It wouldn't make any sense in current times, especially like you paying $6.50. First of all, that's in the 80s. You paying $6.50 in the 80s. That's probably $20 now. Plus, now you gotta pay an extra $8 for the air train once you get to Howard Beach. That don't make no sense. Take the E train. Take the A train to Howard Beach, bro. It's like an extra 20 minutes. And it ran 4-car trains, man. I can't get behind the JFK Express. Now, currently, a lot of people take the A and the E. Some people take the LIRR to the air train. And in my opinion, I feel like we should have some other type of transportation option to the air train. Maybe extend like the 3 to JFK Airport or something like that. Or, you know, how about this? Like, integrate air train into the MTA system and make it a free transfer. But we know the Port Authority isn't going to do anything like that, so that's kind of unrealistic. But I do feel like there should be better options to get to the airport. The JFK Express just wasn't a good idea, and I've seen proposals to like try and bring it back to like in these days, and it don't make no sense. Like, we have so many more options to get to JFK Airport now that it isn't really feasible to bring it back, and we don't know the type of frequency that this line will be running. I feel like, again, better way to increase like transit connectivity to JFK, maybe extend the Q44. Of course, that's only serving the Bronx, but maybe, you know, integrate air train like I said. Maybe post up more signs showing the type of buses you could take to JFK, like the B15 and the Q3 I think goes as well. So, and the Q10, I'm not sure if the Q10 is to JFK or LaGuardia. I'm not really sure about that one, but I do think that there's better ways to, I guess, promote or provide service for a JFK type of transit connectivity type of thing. So JFK Express is going into D tier with the 9 train. It's not that good of a line. Yeah, it got people to the airport, but you paying a premium fare to get there. I guess an upside of it is you had like real transit police officers on the train, and you don't really see that these days. Trains is just unpatrolled at this point, and even when they are patrolled, you can arguably say nothing's happening on the trains in terms of enforcement. So yeah, I guess that's an upside to it, but everything else is a downside. Yeah, it's cool to see like 68 sometimes with the JFK Express roll sign, but hell, come on, bro. I seen a video of a JFK Express train on the center track at Rockaway Boulevard running like 10 miles an hour. Who gonna want to take a express train that's running 10 miles an hour once you get into Queens? Just take the A train, bro. I don't understand that. But that's about it. I know it was only like 5-6 lines, but yeah, I ain't really going into depth with all of the previous ones, like the Jamaica K train. Like, there used to be a Jamaica L K train. It wasn't blue. It was like, I guess it was light blue. I don't remember the color scheme for it, but it used to run on the Jamaica L. It was weird. It used to run from like Jamaica 168th or something like that. And I ain't even go into depth in like the other one, the 8 train. Like I mentioned, the 3rd Avenue L closed down in the 70s. We still ain't get a replacement line for that, but I ain't mention that because I'm too lazy to throw up like there's basically what they used to do was there used to be like the black roll signs they used to put up on the trains, and I did not feel like going through them and looking at which trains had the QB and the QJ and the QT. No, that's doing too much, and I really did not feel like doing all that. So we get into ones with the actual bullet symbols right here. Those extra lines are too confusing even for me to understand, but I would like to hear all y'all thoughts on the lines that I mentioned. I know a lot of foamers is going to hate me for putting the brown M low on the list. I know a lot of foamers going to hate me for putting the 9 train low on the list. They going to hate me for the JFK Express, the K train. Well, I don't care. I'm not a foamer, bro. I do not care if it was a popular line back in the day. I do not care if you like to see those on the old R30, not the R32s, the old R42s that used to run on the J line. I don't care if you went in there and you changed the roll signs yourself to find the K train. I really do not care. I'm not a foamer, bro. So I'm going to speak on these lines in a type of transit enthusiast type of way, in the type of way where I'm examining the benefits and the negatives to the specific line. Like, so yeah, that's about it. Matter of fact, we gonna throw the H train up into Godly tier right now. I'm just thinking about how it carried the Rockaways during Hurricane Sandy, and it used to run the 32s around that time. Yeah, the H train is definitely Godly, and now we got a gap in the A tier right there. We just gonna leave the gap there. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button. If you like the thumbnail with the R40 slant brown M train, hit the like button again and then again, and make sure that it's actually clicked and not turned off. Subscribe if you want to see more type of content like this. I switched to Tuesday and Friday schedule just to make things easier on me, and so I can make more high quality videos. I know this might not seem high quality, but I really don't care what your thoughts is. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Consider becoming a channel member. That's the join button down there. Super thanks, whatever you want to do. And yeah, peace out.